that side can come in a little bit at the top. We're keeping the rim, since the clay that we've been putting on is pretty soft and tall, it's slumping as we work it, so we're going to stop working the clay for today and leave the top very rough so that it can be, in the morning when it's stiffened some, we can pull it up, smooth it up some, and attach a little more clay that will bond nicely.
And you made it a little bowed in to give it rim structure.
Yeah, multiple purposes. Make the rim stronger and make the top a little bit smaller diameter to make it easier to cover over when firing. Let's see.
Yeah, it's getting a little bowed.
Yep. Yeah, in the morning it'll be stiff enough that I push it in, it'll stay where I push it. It's just about the same height as diameter. Over the whole cylinder. And then the rim is smaller diameter to make it easier to close in.
So the entrance wall is going to be quite thick if that whole area from left to right is going to be the arch. Is that the case?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
16 inches wide. Like that. 16 inches tall. And 4.5 feet from back to fire mouth.
And why is the front entrance going to be so wide?
That's the amount of space you need for enough wood to burn to maintain the heat.
Okay. Yeah.
Coals will build up.
Makes sense.
Inches. Strong but flexible, and you can make them conform better if you carefully curve them. Then got a nice arch. And put them in. Push in as much as you can, which in this case is not very much because the clay subsoil here is pretty hard. So this is about as much as we're going to get. And let's look at it. We've got the clay will cover the branches, so we've got 19 clear here. We want 16. That's easy. And we've got 16 here. We'll raise this up just a hair. Yeah, and that'll make a 16 by 16 arch when it's all clayed in. And then let's see, yeah, this way. we'll do some weaving to make an open basket. Things like this. This one really needs to come down a bit. It's just too tall. So we'll do that with good tools. Yeah. Okay.
It's all locust on that too. Locust and cedar roofing.
And then when you're using straw, of course the dragon is the big thing.
Yeah. On this side you can see this couple of shingles.
So you're using already fired old material as foundation stones.
Yeah. So I don't want a stone right there that close to where the fire will be.
Oh yeah, because that could crack.
But I want stone facing on here. Starting about this far back from the fire mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty nearly even circle. So I'm getting the rim of the kiln nice and level and as circular as I can manage. And I'm just giving it a decent finish because this is going to be the exposed top of it. And we make sure that it's reasonably level from side to side. pretty close. A couple of spots are just a hair low still, but on average we're good. So we just top up this slightly low area a little bit and make it good and sturdy.
Did you pre-moisten the clay before you started adding to it, or was it still okay from last night?
It was still moist enough to add to.
Yeah. Nice. Well, it's much easier working with it now. It's leather hard.
Yeah. So you get the thickness statements. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this version of the kiln is significantly thicker than previous versions. The wall is, I measured at one point, is about 2 inches thick down here, and gets 3 inches thick in other spots. The period kilns, which were much larger, tended to have, say, 4 inches or so of fired clay built up as the wall. And of course they were much bigger, so 4 inches was not overkill.
And the thicker the wall, the more it keeps the heat in as well. Or does it not?
As long as you have something surrounding it, you don't need thick clay to keep the heat in. We have 6 inches or so of loose dirt around the kiln when we build it at Penzic.
Yeah, because you build it right into the bank over there as well.
Yes, but it also, just like this, it has like 18 inches of wall above the ground level. So we have to build up a little retaining wall out of chunks of old kiln, so that we don't have to dig up more dirt and make a big slope. Good way to get a nice surface on things without wearing out your fingers.
And when the clay is all dry, you're gonna put back the stone foundation around it,
Yep, that's right.
and then fill it all up with dirt.
Mm-hmm. Now this crumbly dirt makes, when it's dried out, makes quite good insulation.
So the tunnel will be about under a foot of dirt, or maybe even more. That looks to be about a foot.
Well, not
Oh, a little
not
less.
really. I want to put a shelf across here, and then just a foot, less than a foot of wall next to the kiln.
Padding. How long did the first one last?
It depends on how well it's protected from weather.
Yeah, because the previous one you didn't have a roof over it, right?
Right, it cover came off and I never recovered it, and it was pretty much destroyed within a year.
Even when fired.
Yep.
It's kind of amazing that it goes so fast. So good cover is a good idea.
Yes.
Well, the medieval illuminations of beehive kilns for bread making, they've got little wooden A-frame roofs over them.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something similar found for pottery kilns? They're much bigger, so
Hardly ever.
hardly ever.
There's a 15th century perhaps kiln site which has post holes around the kiln, making it likely it had some sort of roof over it. Nearly all of them don't have any indication of a structure around the kiln.
You just keep being fired.
Yeah. They probably did the same as builders did for the winter. Just put a layer of straw or turf or something over the top of the kiln. Keep the frost off. If you don't have deep freeze, all you have to do is keep the frost off it and you're fine.
Yeah, that doesn't work around here.
No, it doesn't.
And you were saying about being able to use it, it's whenever you have enough pots,
Yes.
you can start firing it. Yeah, so no real need to do a 24-hour or a when it's bone dry, or like whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see it fired up. So
Making it thick so it'll be strong.
yeah, so it's about double the thickness in the front rim.
That's right.
And a very smooth firebox. So do you have any specific hints or tips you would think of for anyone building something like this?
Have a backyard with good clay in it.
Yeah. I must also say that it's not something to be done alone, or not easily done alone.
Yeah. It's easier and more fun to find some friends to help.
Yeah, and out of this whole building, the only thing I've seen you use that is not medieval is a level, a measuring tape and some clippers.
Yep. And a level is only a modern version of a thing that medieval builders had. Same with measuring. A convenient stick called a story pole is still used by some builders.
It helps building the same thing over and over.
That's right. You mark out how high your ceiling is, how high your window sills are going to be, all kinds of things like that. And then you just use that stick and when you need a measurement.
Just like your internal measurement stick.
That's right.
That's the simplest thing and so useful. How many of these have you built?
Oh, let's see. On this site, this is the 4th version of it. And at Penzic, I've built somewhere around 15 versions, about 2/3 the size of this.
And did the design change over the years?
Only in the fine details of dimension.
A little bigger, a little smaller.
Yeah.
Well, if a design works, why mess with it?
That's right.
Decoration?
Yes. Later on, I'll take most of the dirt away from the cylinder and build up some stone walls with some dirt to insulate, so that we can stand closer to the kiln. It makes it easier to load. Also gives more space under a future roof for firewood stacking.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so instead of sloping skirts, you'll give her a little bench.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a kneeling bench on this side, which was just at the right height to kneel on, lean in, load pots. So I will do something like that again, maybe on both sides.
Convenience.
With a nice shelf across the front to stage pots on.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see that next time we're here for the firing.